wholesome, genuinely funny, and beaming with heart, Shazam is one of the most enjoyably well-balanced comic book films we've seen. Directed by David F. Sandberg, Shazam feels very much like a Sandberg film. While no, it's not a psychological horror thriller, the key word is consistency. From beginning to end, Shazam feels consistent in its message and delivery. The film starts with a ton of heart and ends with just as much emotion. Because of this, the film makes you feel genuinely relaxed, and you find yourself smiling most of the way. This advertently becomes the perfect setting for Sandberg to blend in light amounts of his horror techniques to change the pace. Shazam is an extremely well-balanced film. Sandberg knows his audience and what he wants to capture, the themes he wants to put on display, and the actors execute it perfectly. Probably the best part of this film is the cast. Featuring Zachary Levi as the iconic hero, Asher Angel as his counterpart in Billy Batson, Mark Strong as a solid villain in Dr. Sivana, and an absolute show stealer in Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddie Freeman, the leads of the film do a wonderful job setting the mood through each act. Aside from the leads, Faith Herman pretty much owns every single scene she's in as Darla Dudley. Shazam tells the story of Billy Batson, a foster child who has found difficulties adjusting from home to home. His life changes when he is summoned by the wizard, and he is transformed into a superhero. The comparison to 1998's Big are easy to see, but the film's finest moments don't come from that. The literal heart of the film is the Shazam family. The group of foster kids that Billy ends up with are the moral center and fiber of the film. Chief among them is Freddie Freeman. Freddie is the literal equivalent of a DC fan in a DC movie. He is obsessed with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, collecting memorabilia and even actual moments of their heroics. Freddie is the exact friend and brother that Billy needs by the time they meet, and his enthusiasm in being friends with a real-life superhero provides some of the best scenes in the film. Dara Dudley, Pedro Pena, Mary Broomfield, and Eugene Choi round out the family and provide the heart of the film firmly sitting on. Mark Strong is back in the DC world for another shot at a supervillain. After being the only shining part of 2011's Green Lantern, Strong effortlessly fills the role of Dr. Sivana. While not the strongest villain in the DCU so far, the character does a solid job being an opposite of Billy Batson. Where Billy is young, overly excited, and careless, Sivana is calculated, determined, and ruthless in his approach. Speaking of the DCEU, the film is firmly set in this cinematic universe. While it is clear that DC is moving in a direction where heroes are in solo stories, some even outside of the continuity, Shazam doesn't waste a second letting you know this story takes place in the same world where Zod once brought a war to Metropolis, Batman protects the Knights of Gotham, or even Aquaman ruling the seas. Superman is chief among them, with name drops practically every few minutes. This felt refreshing and especially nice to see as older films are brought up through clever Easter eggs and moments. Fans will be happy to see and even hear some awesome little throwbacks to the larger DC world. As said before, the key to Shazam is heart. Shazam might be the most heartwarming superhero film since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films. The film is distinctly more family-friendly than other films, but it is also genuinely entertaining for all ages. One of the reasons why is the clever use of humor. In a standard Marvel films, the jokes are almost exclusively through quips or tension breakers. When things are getting serious, a joke is thrown in to break it. Shazam, however, stays away from that style of humor, opting for situational humor and embracing the idea of what a child would do if they suddenly woke up as Superman. The jokes feel distinctly different and more fresh than the ones seen in the MCU or even 2018's Aquaman. The reason for that is this genuine feeling of humor coming from a real place rather than forced. Fans will definitely be laughing and even smiling as the film takes you on an awesome journey. Gripes to this film are minor and attributed to technical flaws. Particularly in the third act, the visual effects are not as polished as prior DCU films, easily attributed to the smaller budget, actually the smallest budget that the franchise has seen thus far. Dr. Sivana, while convincing and brilliantly performed, start to lose some steam in the latter acts as well. Other than that, Shazam feels very much consistent in performance, tone, emotion, and pacing, making for a great superhero adventure. Overall, Shazam is simply the definition of having an awesome time at the movies. While a tad kid-friendlier than prior DCEU entries, the film does a spectacular job being in the world that started with 2013's Man of Steel and shows the diversity of tone in the franchise. A stellar cast, heartwarming message, and a clear director vision come together to make Shazam a great comic book film.